want to see the Wingspan Antarctica expansion. It's just like a promo penguin.
And today we are talking about Wingspan Asia, the new ones, the new Wingspan expansion, standalone expansions coming out from Stonemaier Games.
Yes, we are up to, this is the 4th Wingspan release after the original in Europe and Oceania.
We are very excited because this is sort of like an advanced review copy thanks to Stonemaier Games. So we are going to tell you the standalone game, how does it work, and the other 2 expansions, how does that work, and then what we think of it.
So to try to explain this, the Asia pack is designed to be a standalone box. You can just get it and play it. There's enough bird cards and objective cards and things that you can play it as a 1 or 2 player game. So that's one of its core purposes. It's standalone 1 or 2 player games. So there's all these new cubes in white and black. There's 2 new boards, which they have. So they have the Oceania Nectar side if you want to combine it, because it's not purely standalone. It is standalone or
Expansion.
Compatible.
Yep.
And it's got the standard side of the board. So you've got 2 of these. New supply of eggs, new supply of food, new supply of these dice, all the things you would need to play. Now, what is different when you play the Asia version at 1 or 2 players is you've got this board here, which is called the duet board. And so instead of playing with the typical objectives that come with the game, you can play with this board where every time you place a bird, you get to put one of your tokens onto a space that matches that bird. So it has to match the habitat that you put it in, and it has to match the type of food that you fed it, or its wingspan, or its type of nest, or even down to which direction its beak is pointing. So you put this token on here, it might give you a bonus if it shows it. If not, you just build these up. Now, don't be confused by the fact that these do tessellate with each other. These are competitive spaces, so only 1 player can go in each space. And then at the end of each round, the objectives that you're chasing are things like tokens in trees, tokens in water.
Most tokens in.
Yeah, horizontal rows with at least one of your tokens in it. So you would want to spread your tokens across different rows, not on the edge of the map, things like that.
There are 6 of these tokens, I believe, and they're
6
double-sided
tokens, yes.
Yeah.
That is fun. That's fundamentally what's new with the duet board. It gives you a different set of types of objectives to go and chase, which are a bit more spatial.
Indeed. It is, other than that, it plays the same. Except, obviously, it has Asia birds.
It has the Asia birds. There are no new mechanisms on these birds. So if you've played the original...
Not that we've seen.
No, there are no new mechanisms on these birds. So whereas I think Europe introduced these
the
end game yellow ones, and there were the blue ones round end, which I think were introduced in Europe as well.
And then also once between turns as well from there.
So that was from the base game.
Right, yeah. Okay.
There's nothing new. There's no new colours in that way. So the birds are going to work the way that they've worked before. Really all that's new is this board.
Yeah.
And the solo mode now can also play with this board. The other thing that Wingspan Asia gives you is 6 or 7 player compatibility, and that's what comes down here. So it's called flock mode. You have these dials at 7 players. There's another one at 6 players that helps you keep track of whose turn it is. And essentially, it's the game doesn't change very much. It's a downtime reduction mechanism. So 2 players will be active at any one time.
Right, yep.
Essentially, you split all the players into 2 groups of 3, or a group of 3 and a group of 4. And 1 player from each group is active at a time. And the 2 groups play out of different bird feeders. So again, you use the new dice that come with the Asia game. The players use their own, they have separate boards, so there'll be a separate set of 3 cards for each group to choose from. And that's kind of all it is. You've got the two groups that are playing simultaneously, but each turn, like both players will take a turn, and then both players will take another turn, because where things will interact with the other players, with the other teams, that could be across all players, or it could be just across your group. So it depends on the specific type of card. But essentially it plays more or less the same way. It's just that two players are taking turns at a time, and that will speed up what would be a pretty significant amount of downtime if you were playing with seven.
Seven.
And it also means that some of these, they're not in there. The one you showed before, the ones between turn cards, those ones are now, you don't have 7 other players' turns between your turns. You've only got 3 or 4.
So I had it there. It's somewhere in the stack here. So
Yes.
there you go. Ones between turns, and this is the Asian bit. So naturally, I grew up in Indonesia.
Yep.
I wasn't very outdoorsy. Well, I grew up in the city, and I'm a bit of a city girl, and we do go, outside. When we go outside the city, then we'll enjoy nature. But I know that this is not something that is good, but some people actually eat birds. They just like catch the birds and then eat them. We're just like, what? We never do that, obviously. But in parts of the country, some people apparently do that. But, not these birds I imagine. These are beautiful birds.
Indeed. We've got, if you don't want to play if you just want to play the Wingspan you've always played, this expansion still gives you all these new cards which you can shuffle in. They're fully compatible.
Yeah, look at this. All this like the owl. Oriental Bay Owl. And as usual, it says it has got a flavor text at the bottom. The feathers on its elfish collect sound waves and direct them towards the owl's ears, and then where this bird lives. So there's also in here in Indonesia as well, like Indian beef owl, and it's got Australia as well. It's really amazing. If you like bird watching, if you like birds, and this is obviously additional things that you can look at and admire and learn from. Definitely you can learn from with the birds flavor text.
Indeed.
So what do you think, Tarrant?
I mean, in my view, this is an expansion. It adds new stuff. It doesn't add a lot of new mechanisms. The board here, the duet board, it's fun. It's a different way of doing it, but it doesn't feel tremendously different to original Wingspan.
Yep.
So for me, this just falls into the category of it's an expansion.
Okay. For me, it's almost like the same, but the thing is, if you get another game, do you want it completely different, or do you want it sort of the same? I think that you do want it sort of the same, right? Because if it's completely different, it'd be like, oh, it's just, a different game, and they're trying to write the name of Wingspan, right?
Yeah, it's always one of those. It's always one of those things. I remember having that debate with Terraforming Mars a lot of the time.
All right.
Some people are just like, all I want for an expansion is a deck of new cards that mixes straight in. Maybe there's a couple of new rules associated with those cards, but really just mix some more cards in. And a lot of people like Prelude for that reason. It speeds it up a bit. And then you've got your expansions like Colonies and Turmoil that just add completely new things to the game.
I do like Venus expansion.
Yeah. So,
Anyways.
and I remember, similar growing up with Talisman, there were expansions that were just new cards that you just mixed straight in and to give you more adventures. And then there were expansions that added whole new boards and mechanisms, and they could be hit or miss.
But what do you prefer?
Look, I don't have a preference one way or another. I think when you do have an expansion that adds a whole new mechanism, it doesn't always change the game for the better. It changes the game in a different style, but it doesn't always change it for the better. I found that with the Oceania expansion. That was the most different expansion in Wingspan because it added the nectar and the wild resource essentially. I didn't think that new mechanism changed the game for the better.
Really? No, I think
Yeah,
the other way.
we disagreed on
Yeah, we disagree. I love the nectar because it gives me some flexibility. Otherwise, I'll be struggling to plan ahead with the food. Anyways, that's on another video.
Yeah. So for me, this is, let's say, it adds a small amount of variety without changing anything. Wingspan is a good game, and some extra variety never goes astray.
There you go. It does play 2 players. Like a lot of people probably plays 2 players. I might be wrong here, but we do certainly play lots of 2 players game. And I wonder if this can be played more than 2. But that means that you just like combine with other Wingspan. The actual game itself is 1 or 2 players.
Yeah, this new board is just 1 or 2 players. I do like the new board. I don't think it really changes the core of the game, but it's a nice different way of looking at the objectives.
I know. I was like, rather than focusing on the main board, on your own main board, you're looking at what, because you also score the biggest.
Yes,
I forgot to mention that.
You get some points for a big contiguous cluster.
Contiguous,
of your
that's
colour
it. That's
as
the
well.
word. So like that, for example, if I, I've got the bird like that, so I have to make sure that I play a bird in one of these habitats that that pays worms to play. So to make it score 1 point each.
Yes.
So that's one additional thing. And you look at this one, so that's actually based on that. So you kind of have to plan ahead, think ahead a little bit more, and then strategize for this board, for the type of birds that you play. Not just, any bird that, not just the power, but also this one. So I think that's a little bit of a challenge, but not too much, which is good.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think I like this board, as you say, the board, and that's thing. And then the eggs is in different color.
Yep.
Now
Eggs.
it's still the same. It doesn't have the dice tower. We can use the original dice tower, hopefully.
Yes, that is one thing. If you are playing with if you really like symmetry at your table, you don't get it in the 6 or 7 player game because you don't get a whole new bird feeder. You just get a plank of wood to roll on, and you don't get a whole new card tray. You get a cardboard thingy. Yeah. Those they don't impact playability at all. But people who were expecting a full second bird feeder won't get it.
Yeah, and I do like the fact that this is only for 1 player, so it's competitive. So whoever gets in first,
adds a bit of tension to it.
That's correct. And the bonuses as well. You're trying to get the bonuses. You're comboing your move pretty well there with the bonus. You get extra bird, hence you can play another bird and so on. Yep. Have you played Wingspan? So are you looking forward for this new expansion? Please let us know. I don't know if this is going to be online as well for you, if you're the type of person who like to try first online. But yeah, let us know. Do you like Wingspan? What's your favorite expansion? Or do you like any of the expansions? Do you think you like this one? Me and Tarrant, obviously, as we mentioned earlier, we disagree on the Oceania, of course. I mean, we are in Oceania, but doesn't mean that we have to like it. But I do like it. Wingspan, 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 Wingspan. Wingspan. So yes, let us know. And if you find this useful,
I want to see the Wingspan Antarctica expansion. It's just like a promo penguin.
Oh no, it's the Antarctica promo code. Seal is not a bird, so just one. Is it?
I'm sure they have other
just one
birds.
penguin.
I'm sure there's different types of penguins, and I'm sure there's some seabirds that fly around the peninsula.
Okay, that sounds more like it. But I would imagine that there's only a limited amount of winter birds.
Probably. Who knows?
We'll see. So
my joke turned into a scientific discussion that neither of us was prepared for.
Okay, thank you, Tarrant. So that's it. If you find this useful and you want to see more of these videos, if you can please help us by liking it and subscribe to us and comments below. I'm also on Instagram, so find me there as well. And that's it, Tarrant.
That's it.
Hopefully we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.